at the back there.
Hi. If I can ask about a project you were talking about a while back, IT2I2 version 2.
Yeah.
Was there ever any progress made on that?
There's about 5 pages of script. That's it. Just other stuff takes over, doesn't it? I would love to do it, because the first one didn't do what I wanted it to do quite. It was like difficult, and I really wanted to do one where, because there is now, there's actually, the other night I heard someone talking about that the billionth computer is now connected to the internet, and someone actually said, which is they clearly hadn't seen my DVD or heard anything about it, but there is a philosophical debate taking place at the Royal Institute in London. A guy gave a talk there about that possibility, that that effectively the world now has a neural net that is as intelligent, or if not more, than a human being. It knows more, it can remember more, it has access to more information, and it's self-sustaining, and you can't turn it off, which is the kind of premise of that thing. And it's quite bizarre that I think in 100 years' time people will find this old DVD in the dustbin somewhere and go, "This man knew the future." But I quite like the idea of a mechanical intelligence. It's very connected to Crichton and Red Dwarf, and connected to a play that I wrote before I did Red Dwarf about a robot. But the concept that it doesn't have to be malignant, like the sort of Terminator idea and all those things where the machine takes over and it destroys us, and the Matrix, the Matrix, all that kind of concept. But it could actually be, I just quite like the comedy idea of a super intelligent machine that's actually quite nice and doesn't think we're horrible and doesn't want to kill all of us. That was the sort of gist of it. So IT2I2222222. It's impossible to say. I don't know how I can say it, but there were so many people coming to me. That I-tie-to-tie-to-T thing you did? What was that about? It's the most common question. But I've got some here. I've got my bin, my end of season bin clearance sale. So there's a few IT2I22s if you haven't seen it. It's very funny, and it's cheap today. It's quite funny. There's some good people, there's some good actors in it other than me. Shall I do any more? I can't think what else I can tell you. No, the only other thing I'll tell you that I'm doing now, some of you may have seen a little clip that someone put up on YouTube where the cast of Red Dwarf are seen reading a script. And we have been working on a project together, quietly in the background, of a kind of comedy show with the 4 of us in it, because we like working together, that isn't Red Dwarf. And there was a period early this year when it sort of looked like it was on that part of its trajectory to ultimate glory, but actually all it was doing was going, "Oh." So just did a little jump, so it was fun while it lasted. But it was with Ed By as a producer and director, and written by me, and with all of us, all the 4, Chris, Danny, Craig and I in it, playing totally different characters in a totally different setting. The plan with it, and none of this has come to fruition yet, was that we would shoot, it's a 90-minute comedy film, and it's written in 10 9-minute episodes, and we'd release the episodes 1 week at a time over 10 weeks on the internet for £1 a download, £1 for 9 minutes, and as an alternative way of distributing the film. And one of the plans, which I think Craig thought was a bit of a cheat, was that we'd only release 8 of them. And then to see the last one where the whole thing was tied up, you'd have to buy the DVD. Bobby, you can't, that's really mean, man. You're a middle-class tight bastard. I thought it was quite a good idea. So, it's, in theory, it's a brilliant idea, and I think a lot of people would want to try it out and do it, but actually when it comes to actually talking people like proper men in suits in banks into letting us do it, it became much more complicated. We haven't given up, but I don't think it's going to appear in quite the way that we originally thought, but we are struggling away with it.
Robert, is it true that Scrap Heap's getting put on the Scrap Heap after this next series? Because there's a website that seems to have posted the news that that's getting axed.
Right, no, I'll just repeat that question for those that couldn't hear it about Scrap Heap being axed. There was a speech released by the press department at Channel 4 at the Edinburgh Television Festival, a speech given by the managing director of Channel 4, Kevin Ligo, where he set out what is really a brilliant new phase in Channel 4's life. And then he said, we're even axing some of the most popular shows that we have on. And then there was a list of shows, of which Scrap Heap was one of them. And that's where first we heard of it. But then someone rang me from the Edinburgh Television Festival who'd been at the speech, and he very pointedly didn't say Scrap Heap Challenge, so Scrap Heap hasn't been scrapped now. But we don't know what we're doing, because I committed to doing the last, I think it was 4 series up until this year, up till 10, 4 years ago. So I knew we were doing up till then, but I don't know what we're doing now. But I think it's very likely we will do more, but it depends on quite a lot of other things as well. So it's not dead yet. They've tried to kill it, but it got up. Stumbled on.
You got any more questions?
Oh, there's one here. This is the one. This is the question. All the emotional weight is resting on this one question.
I work with the kind of pressure though. If Red Dwarf did continue, it was discussed earlier with Chris, if possibility of computer games or something like that. If that did happen with Red Dwarf and it continued as a series of computer games, do you think some of the like the Little Crichton, what some of the more off-the-wall ideas might make it into?
Oh, it would love it, wouldn't it? Yes, if you went into a room in the game and there was a little baby Crichton there. Wouldn't that be cute? I'd like that. There is, in fact, going to be an announcement made of a project, very Red Dwarf related project. I don't want to spoil it, but Andrew's going to tell you later on today about it, which we've only just heard. Chris and I were only told today, but it's quite interesting as a workaround and as a new idea, which I quite like. But I won't spoil it because I'll let him tell you about it. But yeah, no, it would be lovely. Yes, I would still like to have a little Bubba Crichton somewhere, because my babies have all grown up to big, horrible teenagers that just denigrate me, and they're just so bloody rude. I've been very good because I haven't sworn because James did, but my children swear. They're really rude, my children. I mean, they're very bad. It's my fault. Mind you, their mum is Australian, so she can't help it. When my wife, well, I got married this year. I don't know if that's my wedding ring. We sort of did it the wrong way around. We were living together for 19 years. We've got 2 children. Then we got married, which our children explained to us wasn't how they understand that isn't the normal way of doing it. But when my mother-in-law, as she now is, came to stay over that period, I'd said to the children before, look, when Grandma's here, just watch your language, please don't swear. Don't worry, Dad, we won't. Don't worry, that's all right. No, we'll be good with Grandma. Grandma arrives, there she is, and the first morning we're having breakfast, and we're all being polite. It's all lovely and a sunny day. It was one of the few sunny days this year, and it's all nice. And I'm going, oh, they're good. And they're being really polite to Grandma and asking her how she is and getting her breakfast. And then my wife walked in and goes, I fucking hate my family! So we were stuffed. And they went, Dad, she swore in front of Grandma. Shut up, you fucking hang. It was pointless. It was a hopeless task trying to have non-foul-mouthed children. Anyway, that's enough, I think, from me. You've been very good to sit there all that time. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Are you just okay to sign our banner?
Oh, yeah, sign the banner. Do I need a microphone to sign it?
Go ahead, pen.
Chris has stolen the
I was gonna say.
microphone. No, you can play one. It's all right. Thanks, Robert. Robert Llewellyn, everybody. To get the autograph sorted out, and then we'll be calling out the numbers, so just give us a few minutes to get sorted and the autograph session.